Welcome to my channel, Yoga with Nikki Lee. Thanks for tuning in with me, Nikki. Today we will be focusing on a gentle restorative yoga flow. We will be holding poses for 3 to 4 minutes at a time and using props to help assist us. You will need 2 to 3 pillows, a blanket, and then 2 blocks or something you substitute in place of the blocks, such as books or small boxes. If you have any questions about props, you can refer to the blog post that accompanies this video on my website, yogawithnikkilee.com. If you would like to listen to some relaxing music while you practice today, you can go to my Spotify account where I've created a playlist called Restorative Playlist. The information is below. We want to be as comfortable as possible in our practice today, so grab some fuzzy socks and maybe some essential oils and get ready for complete relaxation. We will begin in child's pose, coming on to your hands and knees through tabletop, then setting up a blanket underneath where your knees will go. The blanket is totally optional. Sometimes it's just nice to have a little bit of cushion underneath your knees. Setting up the blanket, you will then bring your knees on top, coming into a wide leg child's pose, or if you like, you can bring the knees closer together. We will set up a pillow on top of the thighs and then gently rest your chest and head on the pillow, walking the hands out in front. As stated earlier, we want to be as comfortable as possible in these positions, so feel free to modify any of the poses for optimal comfort. Maybe making a bolster ramp with your pillow and blocks, setting up one block on the shorter side and then one on the larger side, and gently resting the pillow on the blocks. Then leaning your chest on the pillow, relaxing your head. Another variation you can take is just relaxing the pillow on the mat and then placing a block in front of the pillow, resting your forehead on the block. Bring your arms out in front and then let gravity do the work. Focusing on your inhales and exhales, notice how your body begins to feel heavier as it sinks into the mat. This position should be nothing but comfortable, so adjust accordingly. If my cues are ever not what your body is craving, feel free to make the position your own. Restorative yoga can be a very meditative practice, so trying to maintain your awareness on your mat, noticing if your mind starts to wander, and then bringing it back onto the mat, either the physical sensations you're feeling throughout your body or your breath. Just trying to maintain a level of presence. We will be holding these poses for 4 minutes at a time, so I will be quiet for most of this practice, except to cue you into the next pose. Do your best to relax your body and your mind, and enjoy this precious time you've carved out for yourself today. Begin to take a couple deep breaths, coming out of the pose, feeling the sensations in your body. Removing the pillow to the side, we will take a variation of thread the needle. You can keep your knees on the blanket, maybe coming through a tabletop position, sending the hips over top the knees, and then threading the right hand over to the left and reaching the left hand out in front of you. Your right temple can gently rest on the mat, and you can take your gaze over to the left. Or if you would like to open up your hips as well as your shoulders, you can come back into a child's pose position, bringing the toes to touch and the knees out towards the sides of the mat, depending on how deep you want the stretch. Then, threading the right hand over towards the left, you can bring your right temple down, taking the gaze to the left, pressing the top of the left hand into the mat. If you would like a neck stretch as well, then you can turn your gaze towards the right side of the mat, gently resting your left temple down. These poses are meant to feel good, so if it ever becomes too intense, simply back off or modify the pose so that it's comfortable for you. Don't be afraid to use your props. Do your best to relax your muscles and your mind, and enjoy the sensations that arise from this pose. Begin to deepen your breath. Then on an inhale, slowly rise up into a tabletop position, preparing for the next side. Either taking your hips above your knees or taking a child's pose, sending the hips back towards the heels. We'll thread the left arm over to the right side this time. You can either press the left temple down into the mat, or you can turn your head, bringing the right temple down, gazing towards the left. Notice how this side may feel different than the other. Moving gently with yourself. Find a comfortable position for you. And then doing your best, enjoy the stillness. Noticing if your mind is wandering or if you're fidgeting, and then just coming back to your mat, bringing your attention to your body and the sensations that are arising in it, as well as your breath. Deepen your inhales and exhales, and then gently come back into a tabletop position, rearranging yourself. We can remove the blanket from underneath our knees, or you can keep it if you want a little bit of cushion underneath your sit bones. We're setting up for a forward fold, so bringing your hips down onto the mat and the feet out in front. We'll place the pillow gently on our thighs, folding forward. Perhaps you'd like to use 2 pillows, whatever is more comfortable for you. We shouldn't feel any pain in this pose, so maybe doubling up on the pillows if you do feel any pain. We're just going to rest the hands on either side of our feet or on the pillows. No need to grab a hold of the toes if you don't want to. Just relaxing, letting gravity do the work. You can also bring a block underneath your forehead if you don't want to use a second pillow. So coming into a comfortable position for you. If it's better on your neck, you can bring your head to one side and then maybe changing halfway through the pose to the other side. We're about halfway through the position, so you can change the direction of your head if it was facing the one side. Continue to relax, feeling your body get heavier with each exhale, keeping your mind focused on your body in the present moment. Begin to elongate your inhales and exhales, slowly rising out of the position. You can move the pillows to the side. If you are sitting on a blanket, you can remove that from underneath of you and place it on the side as well. Our next pose will be reclining pigeon. So you can set up a ramp using your blocks and a pillow. When taking a restorative pigeon, I personally like to keep a block for underneath my leg. You can use just one block underneath the pillow, giving it a gentle rise. Then, sending the right leg parallel to the front of the mat and the left leg straight behind, you can place a block, pillow, blanket, or book underneath the right thigh. Then gently resting your chest on the pillow, arranging yourself so that you're completely comfortable. Some sensation is good in this pose, but we don't want it to be too much. We should be completely comfortable and free of any pain. So if that means adding a pillow onto the pillow in front of you, you can add some height, making the pose a bit more comfortable. Depending on what kind of pillows or bolster you are using, you can rest your forehead on the pillow, or you can take your gaze towards one side. We're about halfway through the pose, so you can change the direction of your neck if you were facing one side. Continue to relax and notice if you're holding on to any tension in this pose, especially in the shoulder, neck, or face. Consciously realize this and then relax even deeper into the pose, seeing if you can let go of any tension. Deepening your breath, come up into long arms and lift the left knee off the mat. Sending the right leg behind, come into a tabletop position. We'll be here for 5 seconds, just noticing the sensations in your body. Then, setting up for the next side, let's bring the left leg forward, creating it parallel towards the front of the mat. Then, bringing your block, if you like, or blanket underneath the left thigh, sending the right leg straight behind you. Doing your best to relax into the pose, gently resting your chest on the pillow, and then maybe turning your head in one direction. Noticing how this side might feel a bit different than the other one. Just being aware of it, being aware of your body, and the sensations that arise with this pose. We're about halfway through the pose, So you can switch directions of your head if it was facing one side. Continue to relax your body. Again, noticing if you're holding on to any tension through the neck, shoulders, or face, and then breathing into the areas that you're feeling the most tension, especially in your hips. Feel your body as it continues to get heavier, sinking deeper towards your mat. Place your hands on either side of your mat and gently come up into long arms, removing the block from underneath of you and coming into a tabletop position. Just enjoy the sensations that pigeon pose brings. Our next pose will be reclining butterfly. So you can create another pillow ramp using your props, or you can just bring one block to the center and then place your pillow on the block. We're going to bring our back onto the pillow and then send the feet in front, soles of the feet touching, sending the knees out to the sides. You might want to use 2 pillows to cushion your knees. This is totally optional though. You can do it without the props. Recline back and then open up through the hips, sending the soles of the feet together, coming onto the outside edges of the feet. Your hands can go out to the side, or you can place them on your belly. You might like to add a blanket on top of your hips for a little bit of weight. Finding the position that works best for you, making sure that you're completely comfortable, and then relax deeply. Deepening your breaths, rise out of the pose, removing your props, and setting up for our next supine position. We'll take fish pose. You can bring the legs out straight in front of you, and then placing a pillow underneath where your back will lay, we're just going to open up through the chest, coming down into a supine position. You can play around with the height of the pillow, maybe placing a block underneath the pillow, giving it a little bit more of a lift. If you like, you can bring the block underneath your head, giving your neck more support. You can bring your arms out to the sides or closer towards the top of the mat. Playing around with it, finding a position that works best for you today. Continue to breathe deeply, feeling the rise and fall of your chest in this position. Noticing how your body feels, and noticing if you're holding on to any tension. And once again, using your breath to help release any tension you may be feeling. Enjoy the sensations of this pose. Deepen your breath, and then press your palms into the mat, gently rising up from the position. The next position we'll take is legs up a wall. So maybe pause the video to clear some wall space for yourself. There's a couple different variations of this pose that you can take today. You may simply want to rest your back on the floor and lift your legs up on the wall. If you want to use some props, you can roll a blanket up, creating a circle, and then gently put that towards your shoulder blades, lifting your chest into the air. Another option is to use a pillow, placing the pillow under your back like we did in fish pose, opening through the chest. So maybe playing around with these shapes and props, finding what works best for you today. This is a very relaxing pose. If you have trouble sleeping at night, you can do this 5 minutes before you go to bed and it will help you sleep. You can decide where you want to place your arms, either bringing them out to the sides or maybe lifting them up overhead. Begin deepening your inhales and exhales, maybe moving your fingers, and then gently lifting your hips, removing any props from underneath of you. Turning onto your side and gently pressing yourself up into a seated position. Setting up for our final pose of the session, Shavasana. There are many variations of Shavasana that you can take. If you like, today we can bring the blanket around our waist gently wrapping it, and then lowering down onto our backs. Another option is to simply bring the blanket over top of you, covering yourself in regular Shavasana. Maybe you'd like to take a different variation today, deciding where you want to place your hands. Maybe you're resting them on your stomach, out to the sides, or above your head. Allow yourself to completely relax for the next couple minutes, sealing in your practice with concentration and mindfulness. Allow yourself to be completely present to seal in your practice, noticing when your mind starts to wander and bringing it back to the sensations of your body, the sound of your breath, feeling the intense relaxation that's washed over you from your practice today. Enjoy your Shavasana. Deepen your inhales and exhales, slowly coming back into your body, maybe wiggling your toes and fingers. You can turn your neck to one side and then the other, maybe lifting the arms up overhead, taking a full body stretch like you do in the morning, and then gently pressing yourself up into a comfortable seated position. removing the blanket if you had it wrapped around you. Resting your hands gently on your thighs, taking a couple more moments of relaxation and concentration, thanking yourself for showing up for your practice today. Bringing your hands to heart center, you can rub your palms together, creating friction between your hands. Then gently place your hands over top your eyes, feeling the heat transfer from your hands to your face. Bring your hands back to heart center. Let's bow our heads together and give thanks for showing up for our practice today. Thank you so much for sharing your practice with me. It's been an honor and a privilege. Namaste.